What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. Michigan State basketball adds a center from the transfer portal in Simon Zappala, a name that probably wasn't on everyone's radar up until this past week, last couple days before this commitment. So let's just jump in and talk about it. Simon Zappala played at Longwood last year, previously Utah State for the 3 years prior to that. Coming in as a fifth-year guy, just jumping into his film a little bit. This will be a real quick breakdown. First off, he's 7 foot. You know, we needed a big body in that front court with some size, especially after Mady Sissoko did transfer this offseason, and with Jackson Kohler being a smaller 5, really can play a lot of that, 4 position as well. And with Xavier Booker wanting to play mainly the 4 position, but I assume we'll still see Book some for a couple minutes a game at the 5. He has some nice finishing ability around the rim on post-ups, in some of the film that we watched here. 67% at the rim where he gets most of his shots. He's a solid offensive rebounder and rebounder in general, which MSU has struggled. If you watch any of their games, has struggled the last couple of years rebounding the basketball, both on the defensive end and the offensive end, which is not what Michigan State was built on under Tom Izzo the last, 28 years. So grabbing a guy who can clean the glass like Zappala is a positive in my opinion. He's a decent shot blocker as well, has some decent movement for a 7-footer. He's not the most athletic guy. Is that post presence though going to translate to the Big Ten? We saw some, kind of crab dribble, hooks, some other stuff outside of the post. Is that stuff going to translate to the physicality of the Big Ten? We don't know. That's to be seen. We don't know. Obviously, for his career, he averages 5 points a game, averages 9.8 last year at Longwood, 3 rebounds for his career, 6 last year at Longwood. Minute-wise, hasn't played a lot either. 9.9 for his career, 16.7 last year. But listen, going into this offseason, what I wanted and what the fan base wanted was a little bit different. We all agreed we needed a wing, a starter-level wing to help move Jaden Akins back to that 2 spot. And then pretty much everyone wanted a starting caliber center to come in. I was one of the few, I might be the only one, that said that MSU does need to add a center, but it's not what the majority of people are thinking from the center position. So, like I said, a transfer ring was number 1. I think that was the most important. They got that, Frankie Fiddler. Second, I said we need a big center that you aren't going to ask to throw the ball down to 12, 14 times a game to get, 10 plus shots. You just need someone who can come off the bench, grab 7 rebounds or so, block a shot or 2, help affect the game defensively when he's in there and clean the glass. As I said, 7 rebounds. I don't think that's a lot to ask from, someone who probably comes in, maybe play like 8 minutes a game, maybe I'd say anywhere like 5 to 8, probably like a max like 12 unless it's a foul trouble situation. But just someone to come in, be a big presence off the bench. But now we don't know if that post scoring that we saw a little bit of last year, as I said, he doesn't average a lot of minutes in his career. But is that post scoring and offense going to translate to the Big Ten? We don't know that. But listen, physicality hopefully should. Helping protect the paint and grab rebounds hopefully should translate to the Big Ten. 7 foot, 240. I think that's a good frame to start with. You get Izzo able in there to coach him up a little bit. And look, he's not going to be a starter. He's not going to be an all Big Ten guy. But in my opinion, we didn't need that. And that's despite the opinion from the majority of the fan base. Look, from what I thought was going to do. That's why this is where I had my expectations and wants. I didn't think that we were going to go out into the offseason and grab the number 1 transfer wing like an AJ Storr, or going to grab him plus the number 1, whoever you want to say was the number 1 big in the portal, like an Omar Balu, or I can't think of the player who transferred to Washington that just got a $2 million deal. We weren't going to do that. But listen, this isn't about MSU not having the money to go get those guys. I think it's, well, 1, we know it's Izzo believing in his 2 centers in Carson Cooper and Jackson Kohler that he has on the roster right now, because in Justin Thinn's post about the commitment, he said that this was a move that didn't want to disrupt the development of those 2. I'm cool. I think, last year we saw Carson Cooper take a step from year 1 to 2. Jackson Kohler obviously didn't even play till the turn of the calendar year in January in Big Ten play. He didn't get any ramp up to playing coming off that injury. But listen, from that line, from Justin Thinn's post about the commitment, this adds up with this ad. This is just someone that you can throw in there to help throw another big body down there to hopefully affect the game on the defensive end and on the glass. And then you hope that, Carson takes another step offensively. Jackson becomes more efficient offensively. He's already a really good, prospect in terms of, offensive side of the ball. Now for Jackson, it's, improving on that defense. Carson, we saw great stretches on defense last year. So now it's just that offensive side for him. So it's like each of them are like, Jax, you want the game for offense. Carson, you want the game for defense. So now it's, if Water can find its level for both of those, then I think we're fine at the center position. And then now you add a 7-footer in the game that you can throw in. Yes, Akidi's not here, but as I said, Omar Balu transferred in. The Washington center that they just got that transferred in. There's still a lot of big bigs in the Big Ten that this should help out with. Like I said, coming off the bench, grab some rebounds, be a good screen setter for this offense to get your scorers open and help set up the plays. Grab some offensive rebound putbacks. We saw some of that in his highlight tapes that were out there. Listen, this isn't the most popular ad, but I think this is what MSU needed going into next season, from my opinion. I know that the rest of the fan base wanted them to go get this flashy, transfer portal big. I never thought that they were going to do that anyway. I think Frankie Fiddler fits right into what they need on that wing to allow Jaden Akins to be that number one scorer now. And then, with Book probably having a bigger role in that offense this year than obviously Jeremy Fierce during that drink. And now you have Frankie Fiddler on the wing. And then second was adding that depth piece at center and a big, consistent big man who can help grab rebounds, defend the paint, I think was the biggest need from the center group this offseason. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out and go green.